Hi, welcome back to The Quiet Part Out Loud. I'm Nuvyn.
And I'm Alex.
And yeah, we went viral, girl. I think the clip that we did on return to work mandates really had some interesting dialogue, comments, subsequent posts. And it's interesting because whether people actually watched the entire episode or if they watched just the clip is up for debate. But I think that it really exposed or hit a nerve with a lot of people around return to work, and a lot of, whether it's government, association, universities, people are going back to 5 days in the office.
Yeah. And what I'm most proud of about that clip is it was shared a lot.
It was.
Like, that is very cool for us, because that's fun. But yeah, we got what I think is interesting is we got some, I would say, not so great comments, but also some very supportive comments. And, it kind of worked itself out where people were kind of having a conversation.
Well, and I think that's the purpose of this, right? Is let's have the conversation. Does working 5 days in a week out of an environment where people have been working, say, remotely or hybrid or from home exclusively, will that disproportionately impact women? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's hard to debate that women are not most often the primary caregiver. And many women who listen to our podcast find themselves in that sandwich generation where you're caring for both your children and your parents and other responsibilities. Will there be a period of adjustment? Absolutely. And I think that will be the test of corporate culture. How does your corporation navigate through what will be a real change, not only in showing up to the office, but but I wear Lululemons most of the time.
Yes, that factor. The hard pants factor.
Are we going back to pantyhose? My gosh.
I think what's interesting about that clip is I was talking about Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and it being kind of created in a factory setting. And what the other consideration there is that style of work and that style of workplace was created for men, when women and, people of color and other marginalized people could not participate in work. And I also will further say that it's not a modern mentality. It's kind of archaic. And so you and I have talked about this before. Even the hours of school, right? That doesn't work for any working parent, whether you're male or female. But the hours of school and the traditional workplace does not line up to a working parent, who has to care for their children and or any other type of caregiving that's happening.
I would say, and one of the things that was interesting to note, not only in some of the comments from our video, but from other commentary around this return to work mandates, has been pushback from a younger generation, because that is what they've known, kind of COVID and post-COVID era. They've had the luxury of working hybrid, and now they're like, oh my gosh, now I have to go into the office. And you know what? I don't have a lot of patience for that. I do have to say that you have to go into the office. You have to build your network. You have to connect with people. The intangible impacts of your presence in the office is what makes your career grow. And if you're not there, you're not seen.
I would agree. I very much agree with that. I think early stage, whether you are early stage in your career or you have just joined a new company, it is so valuable to be, I would say, networking internally in your company in person. So, having coffees with people, being in person in meetings, I think there's definite value to that, especially just on your own team. There are those, I always say this, spontaneous collisions that happen when you're in person that cannot happen when you're on a Zoom and virtual.
So I'm a firm believer also is that flexibility in work has to be earned. You have to build that trust with your employer, with your team, with your colleagues, in order to then take advantage of a flexible working arrangement. Would you agree with that?
I would say I do believe trust is earned and not given. I think that we should start at a baseline of trust, though, in a workplace. So if you think about the journey you take to be offered and start a job, like you've been selected, you've been chosen. Let's start at a baseline of trust and say we have a hybrid workplace, whatever your company defines as hybrid. Dawn DeLima, I think, is a great example from TC Energy. Her whole organization, I'm going to get this wrong, goes in, let's say, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. That's their definition of hybrid, and I think you should follow that construct. I do believe that you should show up, you should interact with your team. I also don't agree that you should have to be in the office just to be on Zoom with somebody who is also on your team. Being on a Zoom in the office all day is not my definition of a fun time.
That's true.
So
and I think maybe that's where some resentment or resistance occurs, is if people are like, wait a second, I'm in the office. How come I'm on a Zoom with you and you're at home? Why didn't you come to the office?
Yeah. And I also think that is kind of an evolution of leadership, in that we need to have great leaders that bring their teams together and, create these ecosystems where when you're in the office, we're having team meetings in person. And if you're having a Zoom meeting, maybe that's on other days. But you're not driving into your cubicle to be on a Zoom call all day, because that seems just like the definition of insanity to me.
I think we should use this return to work mandate to advance the walking meeting. And remember, there was a period of time where I remember hearing all the time, it was like sitting is the new smoking, and people getting walk stations at work and standing desks. So I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to come back into the office, our meetings are going to be walks. Let's get our steps in while we're doing this,
I
right?
like that idea.
Well, we wanted to connect with our viewers and listeners today, just because we thought it was pretty cool that went viral. And don't read the comments on Instagram.
No, never read the comments. Just don't do it.
Yeah, never good. But thanks for joining us again on The Quiet Part Out Loud. The Quiet Part Out Loud is produced by Access Connects and brought to you by, oh wait, is there a sponsorship opportunity there? Learn more at accessconnects.com.